A car crash. My memory had reversed 3 years, landing me right back in the peak of my high school sweetheart romance. When I woke up in the hospital, the girl who had been the unattainable ice queen of our college was holding a baby and calling me her husband. She claimed I loved her, but the only memory I held of her was a look of utter disgust. The sharp scent of antiseptic burned my nostrils, and my head hammered with pain. My eyelids felt heavy like they were weighted with lead, and I strained to open them, just a sliver. White ceiling, white walls, white sheets. A face leaned in close. It was Clara Sutton. She was the campus hottie of our university, notorious for being untouchably cold. Her admirers could have formed a line from one end of campus to the other, yet I never saw her smile at any of them. Especially not me. I remembered clearly, during our sophomore year, I tried to pass her a note from my roommate. She didn't even glance at it. Her eyes were colder than glass, and she simply walked around me and kept going. Why was she here? My headache intensified. "You're awake?" Her voice was soft, carrying a hint of weariness and a slight, difficult-to-discern rasp. I tried to speak, my throat burning dry. "Water." She turned immediately and quickly returned with a cup of warm water. She dipped a cotton swab in it and carefully moistened my lips. Her movements were gentle, her focus intense. I felt completely uneasy. This was too strange. Clara Sutton, taking care of me? Once my throat was lubricated, I finally managed a full sentence. "What happened to me?" "You were in a car accident. You've been in a coma for 2 weeks," she said quietly, setting the cup down. "The doctors said you have a blood clot in your brain. There might be some side effects." "A car crash." I struggled to recall, but my mind was blank. The last thing I remembered was yesterday, preparing to head to the airport to pick up my girlfriend, Veronica Shaw. "Wait, Veronica." I bolted upright, the sudden movement ripping a jolt of searing pain through my head. "Don't move." Clara instantly pressed me back down, her brow furrowed. "Where's Veronica? Where is Veronica Shaw?" I frantically grabbed her wrist. "Does she know about the crash? Is she worried sick?" Clara's body stiffened. She looked at me, her expression so complex I couldn't decipher it. There was surprise, confusion, and a hint of something I couldn't name. "Hurt. Who is Veronica Shaw?" she asked. I was stunned. "My girlfriend, we were." My words were interrupted by the sound of an infant's cry. Clara immediately released me and rushed to the crib in the corner of the hospital room, expertly lifting a bundled blanket. She held the child, rocking it gently and soothing it with practiced ease. Sunlight streamed through the window, bathing her in a soft halo. The way she looked down at the baby in her arms was with a tenderness I had never imagined seeing on her face. My brain stalled. A woman, a baby, in my hospital room, and that woman was Clara Sutton. She walked over, holding the child, and placed a small, wrinkled bundle in front of me. "Ethan Hayes," she looked straight in my eyes, speaking every word clearly. "This is our daughter, Lily Hayes. She just turned 1 month old." Boom! My world exploded. What did you say?" I suspected either my ears had failed or her mind had. "Our daughter," Clara repeated, her tone calm, but the arm holding the baby tightened. The little one, Lily, was still whimpering, tiny hands waving in the air. Accidentally, one small hand latched on my finger. The touch was warm and soft. My heart contracted violently. "Impossible." I yanked my hand away, my voice rough. "There is absolutely no way." "Clara Sutton, did you make a mistake?" "How could I? With you?" We had barely exchanged more than a few sentences. Throughout college, she was the untouchable goddess, and I was just an average student. Our only notable interaction was that ignored love note. "How could I have a child with you?" "My girlfriend is Veronica Shaw." I felt my entire reality crumbling. Clara's face lost a shade of color. She didn't argue, but silently retreated 2 steps with the baby, maintaining her distance. She looked at me as if I were some kind of monster capable of harming them. A strange tightness built in my chest. "Doctor!" I yelled toward the door. "Doctor!" The doctor and nurses rushed in and quickly ran a series of checks. "The patient's vitals are stable, but..." The doctor frowned, holding up the CT scan. "The blood clot is pressing on the memory centers. He may be experiencing severe memory confusion or selective amnesia." Amnesia. I seized the word. "Doctor, my memory stops 3 years ago, right after college graduation. I was heading to the airport to pick up my girlfriend, Veronica Shaw. What happened after that? I don't remember anything." The doctor and nurses exchanged a look. Clara stood nearby, holding the baby, listening silently, not saying a word. "Mr. Hayes, please try to calm down." The doctor attempted to soothe me. "Memory recovery takes time. You mustn't get too agitated." "How can I be calm?" I pointed at Clara. She's holding a baby and claims it's mine. What in God's name is going on? The room fell into a dead silence. Clara's lips moved, but she said nothing, turning her head away, her jawline tight. Finally, the doctor broke the silence. Mr. Hayes, this Ms. Sutton is your legal wife. You were married 1 year ago. Here is a copy of your marriage certificate. He handed me a piece of paper. On it were my name and Clara Sutton's name. In the photo, I was grinning like an idiot, and Clara, the aloof Clara Sutton, was actually curving the corner of her mouth slightly, her eyes holding a light I couldn't understand. My hand started shaking. Wife, daughter, what happened during those 3 years? Why did my memory only contain Veronica Shaw, the girl I had loved since high school and promised to spend my life with? I was forced to accept this absurd reality. On the day I was discharged, Clara drove to pick me up. It was a very standard family sedan with a pink infant car seat installed in the back. She was a woman of few words, quietly handling the paperwork, holding the bags, and motioning for me to follow. I felt like a puppet, following her into a strange underground garage and into an unfamiliar car. The car smelled faintly of baby powder. Is this our house? I couldn't help but ask as the car pulled into a decent-looking suburban neighborhood. Yes. She glanced at me in the rearview mirror, which served as her full answer. Home, a word that felt utterly alien to me. The house was not large, 2 bedrooms and 1 living room, but it was meticulously clean and cozy. A soft blanket was draped over the living room sofa, and tiny baby clothes were drying on the balcony railing. Everything was permeated with the atmosphere of life. A life shared by Clara and the child named Lily. And I felt like an intruder. Your room is over there, she pointed to the master bedroom. Lily and I will take the second bedroom. I paused. Married couple, sleeping separately? She seemed to sense my confusion and added, you just got out of the hospital. You need proper rest. Lily wakes up at night. The reason was airtight. I walked into the room she called mine. The setup was simple, a bed, a dresser, a desk. On the desk was a laptop, next to a few professional textbooks. Everything was tidy. I pulled open the closet. Inside hung my clothes and Clara's clothes. Men's shirts and women's dresses hung together, some pressed tightly side by side. My heart started beating abnormally again. All this confirmed what the doctor said was true. Clara and I were husband and wife. But why did I feel nothing? I only felt distance and unfamiliarity toward her. That night, I tossed and turned, unable to sleep. A faint cry came from the next room, followed by Clara's hushed voice soothing the baby. Good girl, Lily, don't cry, don't cry. Daddy is resting. Daddy. The word pierced my heart like a needle. Frazzled, I sat up and fumbled for my phone. It was new, and the contact list was empty. The doctor said my phone was destroyed in the crash. Relying on muscle memory, I typed in a number I knew by heart. Veronica Shaw's number. The phone rang for a long time. Just when I thought no one would answer, a voice came through. Hello, who is this? It was Veronica's voice, sweet and gentle, exactly as I remembered. My eyes welled up, I nearly cried. Veronica, it's me, Ethan Hayes. Silence on the other end. A long silence. So long I thought she'd hung up. Ethan. Her voice trembled with disbelief. Is that really you? Ethan. Where? Where have you been for 3 years? I looked everywhere for you. I was going crazy. Her voice cracked with tears. My heart twisted. Veronica, I was in an accident. I have amnesia, I explained haltingly. I don't remember anything. Only you. Amnesia. She gasped. Where are you now? Are you okay? I looked around the strange room. I'm home. Home? What home? I didn't know how to explain Clara and the baby. Don't panic, Veronica. Just wait for me. Once I figure out what's going on, I'll come find you. Wait for me. Okay, I'll wait. She cried as she said, Ethan, I've been waiting for you. You promised you would marry me. After hanging up, I buried my face in my hands, feeling like I was splitting in two. On one side was Veronica Shaw, crying and waiting for me. On the other was Clara Sutton, holding my daughter. Which one was my reality? The next day, I decided to take the initiative. I couldn't remain passive. Clara was up early, feeding Lily, changing diapers, and preparing breakfast. It was a simple, light continental breakfast of oatmeal and fruit. I'm heading out this afternoon, I told her as I ate the oatmeal. She was wiping Lily's face and looked up. Where are you going? Your body. I'm meeting a friend, I interrupted. I need to know what happened these last 3 years. She fell silent. After a moment, she quietly replied, Okay, be safe. No questions, no resistance. She was so calm, as if I were just stepping out for a pack of gum. This very calmness made me feel even more unsettled. I relied on memory to find the apartment of my best college buddy, Jack Peterson. He opened the door. When he saw me, the takeout container in his hand clattered to the floor. Holy SHD, Ethan Hayes. His eyes widened, as if he'd seen a ghost. You weren't. I wasn't what? I walked in and closed the door. Weren't you a vegetable after that crash? He grabbed my arm, checking me up and down. You woke up? When? 2 weeks ago. Then why didn't you call me? I thought, damn, do you know how many times I called? They were all disconnected. He punched my shoulder, his eyes slightly red. A warmth spread through me. My phone was busted. I patted his shoulder. I have amnesia, Jack. I don't remember anything. Jack's expression instantly froze. Amnesia? Completely wiped. Not entirely. I took a deep breath and recounted everything. Clara, the baby, and my phone call with Veronica. Jack listened, his face shifting through a complex palette of emotions. He opened his mouth, wanted to say something, then swallowed it. Finally, he plopped down on the sofa, lit a cigarette, and took a deep drag. Jack, tell me, what the hell happened? I stared intently at him. How did Clara and I get together? And Veronica? We planned to get married right after graduation, didn't we? Jack exhaled a cloud of smoke, looking at me with complicated eyes. Ethan, listen to me. Some things might be different from what you remember. What do you mean? Veronica did come back that graduation year. But he paused, choosing his words carefully. She broke up with you. What? I felt like I'd been struck by lightning. No way. She loved me so much. She wouldn't break up with me. It's true. Jack stubbed out the cigarette. She said her family arranged a strategic business marriage for her, and she couldn't defy them. She left you a chunk of money and went overseas. She hasn't been back once in 3 years. My head was buzzing. Breakup? Strategic marriage? Money? This was completely different from my memory. In my mind, we were so deeply in love. She was so dependent on me, always wanted to be close. Then, Clara Sutton, I asked with difficulty. When Clara's name came up, Jack's expression grew strange. You forgot? After graduation, you chased her. Me? I pointed to myself. I chased her, didn't she? Hate my guts. Hate you. Jack laughed. Man, do you have the wrong idea about hate? 4 years in college, besides you. Did you see her get close to any other guy? Did you think that cold personality of hers let just anyone save her a seat, grab her lunch, or carry her books? I was dumbfounded. Did that happen? I struggled to remember, but all I could pull up was her cold gaze and distant back. The night you proposed, our whole dorm was cheering for you downstairs. When she said yes, you were hugging her, cry like a bawling mess. Jack chuckled again. Then you naturally got together, started working, got married, had a baby. Right before the crash, you were posting pictures of your daughter's little feet on your Instagram feed, saying you were the happiest man alive. Instagram feed? I immediately pulled out my phone, and Jack helped me log back into my account. I tapped the feed. The most recent post was from a month ago. A photo of a pair of tiny, pink feet gently held by a large hand. The caption read, "My little princess. Daddy loves you." Scrolling further back, a wedding photo from a year ago. I was in a suit, Clara was in a white gown, and we were both smiling brightly. 2 years ago, she was laughing, looking back at me by the ocean. 3 years ago, at graduation, she wore her cap and gown, holding the flowers I gave her. Photo after photo documented the bits and pieces of her 3 years. Sweet, cozy, full of love. And I remembered none of it. Jack sighed, looking at my dazed, lost expression. Ethan, I know this is tough to swallow, but this is the reality. He put a hand on my shoulder, his tone turning serious. As for Veronica Shaw, I advise you to stay far away from her. Why? She's not a good person. Jack's eyes hardened. Why she suddenly left back then, why she suddenly returned now. There's deep water there. You have amnesia. She's definitely trying to take advantage. Don't fall for her tricks. I said nothing. My mind was chaos. Jack's words, the photos on my feed, all pointed to one truth. My memory was wrong. I was in love with Clara. We had a happy home and a lovely daughter. But why did my heart still ache from Veronica's phone call? Was that feeling too a lie? I returned home, feeling utterly defeated. As soon as I opened the door, the smell of cooking filled the air. Clara was in the kitchen wearing an apron, and Lily was playing on a mat in the living room. Clara poked her head out of the kitchen when she saw me. You're back? Wash up. Dinner is ready. Her tone was so natural, as if we had lived this way for years. I watched her back, my emotions a complex mix. This was my wife, the woman who smiled so beautifully at me in the photos. During dinner, I subtly observed her. She ate quietly, first feeding Lily baby food, then eating her own meal. Her movements were gentle, and her gaze rarely left the child. My heart slowly began to thaw. Maybe Jack was right. Maybe I really did love her. I had just forgotten. That night, I couldn't sleep and went to the living room for water. The second bedroom door was ajar, a faint light visible inside. Drawn by an impulse, I walked over and peered through the gap. Clara was sitting on the edge of the bed, reading a book under the lamplight. It wasn't a magazine or a novel, but a textbook on post-traumatic brain injury rehabilitation and care. The pages were marked with numerous red underlines and dense handwritten notes in the margins. My heart was slammed by something powerful. She wasn't sleeping. She was studying. For me? Just then, Lily turned over in bed and whimpered twice. Clara immediately put down the book, leaned over, and gently patted Lily's back, humming an off-key lullaby. Her profile was soft in the light, her long eyelashes casting shadows on her cheek. For a moment, I was mesmerized. I quietly retreated to my room and lay in bed, her image filling my mind. My phone vibrated. A text from Veronica Shaw. "Ethan, are you okay? I miss you so much. Can we meet tomorrow? Please?" Looking at the text, I hesitated for the first time. Should I meet her after learning the truth? The next day, I replied to Veronica, arranging to meet at a coffee shop. I felt I needed closure. Whether the memories were real or false, I had to ask her face to face. Before leaving, Clara was dressing Lily. "I'm going out for a bit," I said. She hummed a reply without looking up. "I might be home late." Her hands paused, and she looked up at me. "All right, got it." Her eyes were calm, devoid of any discernible emotion. I suddenly felt irritated. Why was she always so composed? Wasn't she worried that I was going out to see another woman? Or did she simply not care? In the coffee shop, Veronica sat by the window. She wore a white dress, her long hair draped over her shoulders. She looked exactly as beautiful and gentle as I remembered. Seeing me, she immediately stood up, her eyes red-rimmed. "Ethan." "Veronica." I walked over and sat down across from her. "You've lost weight." She looked at me, tears beginning to fall. "What have you been through?" I briefly explained the amnesia, leaving out Clara and the baby. "Car crash." "Amnesia," she murmured, her face pale. "It's all my fault. All mine. If I hadn't left you back then, you never would have been hurt." She suddenly grabbed my hand, emotionally agitated. "Ethan, come with me. Let's leave this place, go somewhere no one knows us, and start over. Please, Ethan." I pulled my hand back. "Veronica, calm down first." I looked in her eyes. "Jack told me that you were the one who broke up with me 3 years ago." Veronica's body went rigid, and her tears flowed harder. I had no choice," she cried. "My family forced me into that marriage, threatening my mother's health. I had no option but to pretend to break up with you and go overseas. I thought I'd settle things with my family and come back for you, but then..." Her explanation was similar to Jack's, but added a compelling hardship. "Then why didn't you contact me for 3 years?" I asked. "My father locked me away, took my phone and passport. I barely managed to escape." She wept pitifully. "Ethan, I swear this is true. I only ever loved you. I haven't gone a single day without thinking about you." Watching her breakdown, my resolve wavered. She seemed so fragile, so helpless. The Veronica I remembered was exactly like this. "And Clara Sutton?" I finally asked the name. Veronica's expression instantly turned venomous. "Her. It's all her fault." She gritted her teeth. "She took advantage of my absence. And while you were heartbroken and vulnerable, she drugged you, crawled into your bed, and forced you to marry her with a baby. She is a calculating, manipulative woman." Drugging? Baby? Forced marriage? These words detonated like bombs in my brain. "Ethan, believe me." Veronica seized my arm, her nails digging into my flesh. "You don't love her at all. You love me. You were just tricked by her and then lost your memory, which allowed her to fool you completely." My mind was a mess. On one side, Jack described a gentle, loving wife. On the other, Veronica painted a picture of a cold, devious gold digger. Who should I believe? "Ethan," Veronica looked at me, her eyes pleading. "Give me a chance and give yourself a chance, okay? Divorce her, and we can be together again. I will love you more and take better care of you than she ever could." I didn't answer immediately. I needed time, and I needed proof. "Let me think about it," I said. Leaving the coffee shop, I walked aimlessly, my mind churning. My phone rang. It was Clara. "Where are you?" Her voice sounded anxious. "Out." "What's wrong?" "Lily has a fever. We're at the hospital." My heart seized up, and I immediately hailed a cab to rush to the hospital. In the room, Lily's small face was flushed, and she was sleeping fitfully while hooked up to an 4 drip. Clara sat beside her, her eyes fixed on our daughter, looking utterly exhausted. When she saw me, she only glanced up before returning her attention to Lily. "What did the doctor say?" I walked over, lowering my voice. "It's just an acute stomach bug. Nothing serious, just needs fluids for a couple of days." Her voice was weary. Looking at her bloodshot eyes, an emotion I couldn't name, guilt, welled up inside me. When she and our daughter needed me most, I was meeting another woman. "I'm sorry," I whispered. She paused, then shook her head. "You don't need to apologize. You don't remember anything." There was a hint of sorrow in her tone that I didn't understand. I stayed the night with them. Lily woke up several times, and each time Clara was instantly awake to give her water, change her, and check her temperature. I clumsily tried to help, but only got in the way. She didn't show annoyance, simply handling everything herself. Watching her tired but dedicated movements, Veronica's accusations of drugging and forced marriage felt terribly weak. No woman would dedicate herself to a man and a family to this extent if it weren't for love. After Lily was discharged, my attitude towards Clara subtly changed. I began helping with chores, learning how to change diapers and mix formula. She seemed to notice the shift and started talking more. We would chat about funny things Lily did or discuss small details about work. I realized she wasn't truly cold. She was just reserved. When she smiled, her eyes curved like crescent moons. It was beautiful. My heart was softening little by little. I started to believe that I really had loved her. I had just forgotten. Just when I thought life might settle into this quiet rhythm, Veronica showed up again. She came straight to our house. Clara had taken Lily to the community clinic for a vaccination that day. I opened the door to find Veronica standing there, her eyes swollen and red. "Ethan, I know everything now," she said. "You're married, and you have a child." My heart sank. "How did you find this place?" "That doesn't matter." She pushed past me, looking around the small house with palpable disdain. "You're living in this kind of place? Ethan, you weren't like this before. You had ambition. What are you trying to say?" I frowned. "Leave her." She turned to me, agitated. "This house, this child, they are chains holding you back. Come with me. My father can give you the best job, and we can live in the best house. We can go back to the way things were." "The past." I scoffed. "Which past?" "The one where you abandoned me for a strategic marriage overseas." Veronica's face paled. I explained. "I had no choice. It was your choice to destroy my life." I advanced on her. "Veronica Shaw, I'm doing fine now. I have a wife and a daughter. Please stop bothering us." "Fine." She looked like she'd heard the world's funniest joke. "You call this fine? You've been fooled by a heartless opportunist. You've forgotten who you truly love, and that's fine." "She is not an opportunist." I instinctively countered. "Isn't she?" Veronica sneered. "Then what about this?" She flung a stack of photos from her bag, scattering them across the floor. They were photos of Clara. She was entering a swanky downtown hotel with an older, middle-aged man, their demeanor intimate. Another shot showed the man handing Clara a bank card. My pupils contracted violently. "I hired someone to take these." Veronica's voice was filled with triumphant malice. "That man is Arthur Sutton, the CEO of Ascend Holdings. He's married. Clara Sutton is his mistress. The baby in her belly isn't yours at all. Ethan, she made a complete fool of you." My mind went blank. The Clara in the photos, wearing business attire and delicate makeup, looked nothing like the natural, bare-faced woman I saw at home. Her smile alongside that man stung my eyes. "It's impossible," I mumbled. "How is it impossible?" Veronica gripped my arm. "Did you forget she wore designer clothes, even in college? Where did a girl from a typical family get that kind of money? She's been a kept woman for years. She only snagged you to find a cheap father for her illegitimate child." "Enough." I shoved her away, my chest heaving. Just then, the front door opened. Clara walked in, holding Lily, her face ashen as she stared at us and the photos scattered on the floor. "Clara Sutton, finally you're back." Veronica, seeing her, instantly adopted the stance of a victor. "Do you have anything to say for yourself?" Clara didn't look at Veronica. Her gaze was fixed directly on me. That look was something I'd never seen before, broken, desperate. Lily, sensing the tension, started to cry loudly. Clara's body trembled. She lowered her head and rubbed her cheek against Lily's, her voice raw. "Don't cry, Lily. Mommy's here." I looked at her, my throat constricted. I couldn't speak a single word. Logically, I knew I shouldn't trust Veronica's one-sided account, but the photos were too damning. "Ethan, do you see her true colors now?" Veronica continued to fan the flames. "Divorce her, and we'll get married immediately." "Shut up," I roared at Veronica. Then, I turned to Clara and spoke with difficulty. "Are the photos real?" Clara lifted her head and looked at me. There were no tears in her eyes, yet the look was more heartbreaking than any weeping. She didn't answer my question, only asked one of her own. Do you believe her, or do you believe me? I fell silent. My silence was a knife in her heart. She offered a smile. It was worse than a cry. I understand. With those 3 words, she turned, clutching Lily, and walked toward the door. Where are you going? I instinctively grabbed her wrist. Let go. Her voice was glacial. I won't. I don't know where the strength came from, but I held her tight. Explain yourself. What's there to explain? She looked at me, her eyes full of mockery. In your heart, you've already condemned me, haven't you? A sharp pain in my chest. I haven't. Ethan, she cut me off. Let's get a divorce. Divorce. The word felt like 2 mountains crushing the air from my lungs. No, I won't. I practically shouted. What gives you the right to refuse? She became agitated, too. The right to doubt and humiliate me just because you have amnesia? The right to comfortably meet your ex-girlfriend after forgetting everything we shared. Ethan, you were so selfish. Each of her sentences struck me like a whip. She was right. What right did I have? I had forgotten our love, our promises, everything we had been through. What standing did I have to question and suspect her? I'm sorry. I released her hand, my voice hoarse. Clara didn't look at me again. She held the baby and left with finality. Veronica walked up beside me, trying to console me. Ethan, don't be sad. It's good she's gone. Get out. I looked at her, my eyes cold. You get out too? Frightened by my expression, Veronica stumbled back 2 steps and then left, unwillingly. In the empty room, I was alone, except for the scattered photos on the floor. I crouched down and picked one up. Clara was smiling broadly in the picture. My heart ached unbearably. Clara was gone. She disappeared from my world, taking Lily with her. I called her phone. It was off. I went to her parents' house. They said they didn't know where she was. I searched for her like a madman. I went to the parks we used to visit, the restaurant where we had our first date, the county clerk's office where we got our license. No sign of her. It was only then that I realized how little I knew about her. Beyond being my wife and Lily's mother, I was clueless. I didn't know her favorite food, who her friends were, or where she went when she was upset. Jack saw my haggard state and grew frantic. Buddy, pull yourself together. First, figure out what those pictures are all about. Write the pictures. I showed them to Jack. Jack took one look and cursed. Damn, isn't this Arthur Sutton? Arthur Sutton, yeah, Clara's father. Jack slapped his thigh. You really wiped the slate clean? Your father-in-law, man. The chairman of Ascent Holdings, Arthur Sutton. This whole thing is what you were bragging about. I felt a second lightning strike. Clara's father? The chairman of Ascent Holdings? Then, Veronica's claim about a sugar baby. Sugar baby my ass. Jack rolled his eyes in frustration. Clara is the sole heiress of Ascent. In college, Arthur wanted her to intern at the company, but she refused, saying she wanted a normal life. After she met you, she hardly went home. Arthur, being the concerned father, was just slipping her an allowance/credit card, worried you wouldn't take care of her properly. You knew all this, and you even boasted to us about landing such a great father-in-law. My mind was a terrifying blank space. So that was it. I was the biggest fool of all. I had doubted her, hurt her, and driven her away. And Veronica, she must have known Clara's identity all along. Jack analyzed. Her family company has dealings with Ascent. She could not know. She deliberately twisted the facts, trying to force you into a divorce. Why would she do that? What else? Revenge disguised as love. Jack sighed. She dumped you, only for you to immediately find someone 100 times better than her. She was bitter, and now seeing you had amnesia, she wanted to snatch you back. That woman is pure malice. I held my head, groaning in pain. What had I done? I had grievously wounded the woman who loved me most. I have to find her. I stood up, my eyes set with determination. I must find her and apologize. How? Jack asked. If she's trying to hide, she'll be hard to find. Even if I have to turn this city upside down, I will find her. Just then my phone rang. It was an unfamiliar number. I answered, and a frail but authoritative voice came through. Is this Ethan Hayes? I am Arthur Sutton. It was Clara's father. My heart leaped into my throat. Mr. Sutton, you don't need to say anything. Arthur Sutton cut me off. Clara and the child are safe here with me. I call to inform you that my attorney will soon send you the divorce papers. Once you sign them, our two families will have no further connection. No, I cried out. Sir, this is a misunderstanding. I love Clara. I can't lose her. Love. The voice on the other end was full of derision. Your love is letting her carry the weight of a family alone while you were in a coma, only to then subject her to your doubts and your ex-girlfriend's humiliation upon waking? Ethan Hayes, you are not worthy of my daughter. The phone went dead. I held the device, all strength draining from my body. I didn't give up. I found Arthur Sutton's estate address and drove straight there. It was a heavily guarded mansion. The security blocked me at the gate. I need to see Clara Sutton. I shouted toward the entrance. No one acknowledged me. I waited at the gate. From day to night. It started to rain, and I was soaked through, but I refused to move. I don't know how long I waited, but the mansion gate finally opened. Arthur Sutton walked out. He held a black umbrella, looking down at me without a trace of warmth. Leave, he said. Clara doesn't want to see you. No, she will see me. I looked at him, my voice raw. Sir, please, let me see her just once. I have things I need to tell her in person. Arthur Sutton stared at me silently for a long time. So long I thought he would refuse. Follow me. He turned and walked back into the estate. I stumbled after him. The mansion's living room was vast and opulent, yet empty. Clara is upstairs, Arthur said. I can give you 10 minutes. I raced up the stairs and pushed open the slightly ajar door. Clara was sitting by the window, holding a sleeping Lily. She was thinner, and her face was pale. Hearing the noise, she looked up. Seeing me, there was no surprise in her eyes, only a dead stillness. Why are you here? She asked. I came to take you and Lily home. I walked toward her, carefully, as if afraid of startling her. Home? She laughed self-deprecatingly. Where is home? That place filled with your doubts and pain. I'm sorry. I crouched down, looking up at her, finally letting my tears fall. Clara, I was wrong. I was an idiot, a bastard. I shouldn't have doubted you. I shouldn't have hurt you. Please forgive me. I was rambling, desperate to voice all the regret in my heart. Clara watched me silently. I know now. Everything. I know everything. I urgently explained. Your father told me. I was foolish. I was blind. I was tricked by Veronica Shaw. So what? She finally spoke, her voice quiet. If you hadn't learned the truth, would you have happily divorced me and ridden off into the sunset with her? Her question left me speechless. Yes. If I hadn't learned the truth, what would I have done? I didn't dare think about it. Clara, give me another chance. I grasped her hand. It was freezing cold. I couldn't remember anything. I was scared and confused. I didn't mean to hurt you. Believe me. Just then, a flash exploded in my mind. It was the university library. The sunlight was perfect. Clara sat across from me, quietly reading. She looked up and smiled at me. That smile was identical to the one in the wedding photo. My head throbbed violently. Countless fragments, thousands of memories, rushed into my consciousness like a tidal wave. The night I proposed to her, the redness around her eyes when she said yes. The sweat in her palm, the first time we held hands. The day I asked her to marry me. The ring was too small and got stuck on her knuckle. She cried hysterically while laughing at my clumsiness. The moment Lily was born, holding that tiny infant, speechless with joy. Just before the crash, holding her hand and saying, Wife, when I get back, we're going to take a real family photo. Everything came back. I remembered. I remembered everything. How much I loved her. How much she loved me. And I, because of an accident and amnesia, had nearly plunged that love into the abyss. Clara. I looked up at her, tears streaming down my face. I remember everything. Clara's body froze. She looked at me, her eyes filled with disbelief. I remember, I repeated, my voice shaking with emotion. Graduation day, you wore that white dress, standing under the old oak tree waiting for me. You told me, Ethan, I'm sticking with you from now on. Her eyelashes fluttered. Our first apartment was tiny, no AC in summer. You were afraid I'd be hot, so you fanned me every night, sweating yourself. Her eyes reddened. The day I proposed, I bought the wrong size ring, and it got stuck on your joint. You were laughing at my stupidity while sobbing uncontrollably. Tears spilled from her eyes. I stood up, reached out, and gently wiped the tears away. Wife, I choked out. I'm sorry. I came back late. She could hold it in no longer, collapsing into my embrace, sobbing loudly. All the stored-up grief, pain, and despair of the past weeks burst forth in that moment. I held her tightly,